Speak Life is really a podcast that is dedicated to helping people to improve their lives, where we know that whatever we speak, our words have power.
Right.
And so when we speak life, we're really speaking life into our lives and really speaking God's vision into our lives.
Right.
And so you're a man that's really doing some great and mighty things. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing in the church.
Yeah, right now, God's called me to LA County. I come from San Bernardino County. God's called me to LA County, a part of the Way World Outreach. And we launched a church now. We have 2 campuses in Los Angeles County, San Gabriel Valley, then also our south campus is in Carson. And our focus is reaching the inner cities, the hoods, the community there, the people that are homeless and things like that. One of our slogans is love people and meet their needs.
Yeah.
And so that means when I knock on your door, because we do door-to-door ministry, I want to get to know who you are, and I want to show you the love of God. Not whether you want to come to my church, whether you want Jesus or not. If there's a need and I could help you, I'm going to help you. There's people that don't have refrigerators today, 2023. They don't have, or 2024, they don't have refrigerators. They don't have
basic necessities,
washer, dryer, things like that. And you go in and you see this in these houses, mattresses, sleeping on floors. And so it's like, what can we do as a church? Well, what we can do is just meet this practical need right here. I think people are in a place where they're tired of hearing like, I'm going to pray for you, or come to my church. They need to see action from the church and love in action.
A lot of times people are going through really difficult times, and holidays for some people are a joyous occasion, but sometimes the holidays can be a really tough season. And for people that don't even have the necessities, Christmas can be a reminder of the things I don't have or the struggles that I'm having. And they can get into kind of a depression.
For sure.
And how do you go about ministering to people that are in that kind of state?
I think the first thing is don't avoid trying to be healed. Because a lot of times we want to stay in a grieving place for years. Grieving is not wrong. It's not a sin. It's not, you're a bad person because you're grieving. But God doesn't want you to stay in a place of grieving, because that's how you develop depression. Mm-hmm. And depression is not of God. It's self-destructive, actually. Not only to your spirit, but it's proven it'll destroy your body. Sickness is developed through depression. All these different things. Mental illness develops through depression. And I would say don't run from your healing. It's okay to move past the incident, whatever has that person depressed, whether it's they lost a loved one to maybe they passed away. For me, the holidays for the last 15, 16 years, I haven't had my older brother with me that's been in prison. So yeah, he's alive, but he's not with us. The first few ones was hard because he's not around. But when you have God, you have hope.
Yeah.
And if there's someone that's depressed listening right now, the only anchor that's going to really be that's going to work for you in your life, it's hope, and it's God. God is the one that provides true hope for you. And I think we have a lot of people that are depressed, but no one's giving them hope. Yeah. And what I mean by that is they need to see that God wants to heal them, but also has a future for them.
Yeah.
It's not just about, hey, let's just, talk about why you're depressed. Let me help you and coach you and walk you to a place where you can see a bright future again.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, bro, that's the key. If they can't see a good, bright future, then they will stay in that state for a decade, for multiple years. And then what ends up happening, unfortunately, they'll ruin the relationships around them. Yeah. There's great people around them. There's people that want to help, and they'll reject it because they're hurt.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah.
And you wrote a book about depression. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Breaking the Chains of Depression. Man, it actually was a sermon that I created, and I was like, let me just make a book out of this. So it developed into a book. And the purpose of that, in the first part of the book, I share my testimony, and I was dealing with suicide and ready to jump off of a cliff and kill myself, really. And
But you're a pastor. I thought that doesn't happen to
No,
pastors.
No, but that was before a pastor. That was before a pastor. But there are, even as pastors, there's many times that depression comes and attacks you. Say for an example, if a pastor loses his wife, of course depression is going to be knocking at his door.
Yep.
Why? Because he misses his wife. That was his wife, And so it's showing people how to navigate and overcome and break these chains of depression off of their life.
Absolutely.
And so I have very practical things in there. I even have like a little workout routine in there. Like literally, like people probably be like, wait, what? And I didn't make it to be this huge novel necessarily, like a Harry Potter book or something huge like a dictionary or encyclopedia. It's short, sweet, and to the point, because I figured if you're depressed, you're not in a mood to really want to read a book. A huge book, let alone. And so it's very to the point. And at the end of it, with that person, I walked them through deliverance also in that book, in one of the chapters of helping them forgive and forgive themselves, forgive others, release things. But also by the end of it, we're writing out goals. We're writing out vision. And I'm helping you not just, let's just talk about what's going on. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's get healed from it. Let's overcome it together. But now let's talk about where you're headed, because I believe in you and this is not the end for you.
And I think depression can hit anyone, young or old, rich or poor. It doesn't matter whether you grew up in church,
non-Christian, everyone.
It hits everyone. And really, what I look at depression is it's your emotional response to a setback in life.
Right.
And a lot of times it's attached to our inability to see our way out of it or see our way beyond that challenge.
Yeah.
What do you find in counseling people and dealing with people? What is kind of the biggest hurdle for people in dealing with depression?
I think their lack of knowledge of who God is. So, like I said, like we mentioned too, Christians could become depressed as well. People don't believe that. Think, no, you can't, because you have the Holy Spirit living in you, brother. You can never be depressed or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But they can be depressed. They can go through it. Just because you become a Christian doesn't mean like, oh, you're just, heaven is where you're not going to experience depression and all these things that happen in life. But on earth, while you're here, we're going to go through all these things, right?
100%.
And I feel like one of the most common things that I've seen, like the number one thing, is people's lack of knowledge of God's love and God's character. And so because they don't understand his love, they don't understand his character, they don't understand that they could actually come to him in a place of depression, or even how to come to him, And so I think Christians today don't know the word. And if you don't know the word, you don't know God. And so they don't pray, right? Unfortunately, if you don't pray, that means you have no communication with God. You don't talk to God. So you're not only not hearing from him through his word, but then now your prayer life is close to nothing. And so if you're depressed and you have no word life, you have no prayer life, of course, you're going to be in this cycle for so long, and you're going to feel even sometimes, the thing that has just broke my heart, and a lot of times, is when people are in that state, but they're Christian, and they think it's not working. Church isn't working for me. God's not working for me. And I'm like, no, it's not even that. It's that you're in a position where you're not being mentored probably to really get shown how to build an intimate relationship with God. Yeah. The intimate relationship with God is the source for victory over anything that comes against you in your life. Lack of intimacy is a lack of victories.
That's good. Lack of intimacy is a lack of victory.
Right.
And I think also a lot of times we're so caught up in the cycle of doing things, right? We'll wake up, go to work, take care of the kids, do whatever we have to do, but we're never really dealing with the issues.
Right.
And so they linger. And I think a lot of times also we set our families up to deal with those things, where our kids are seeing us deal with depression and they're seeing we're not getting out of it. And so what does that teach them? It teaches them, oh, if I get depressed, I'm going to be stuck in it for a long time. And so what are kind of the steps that someone can take to break free?
Well, I would say the hardest thing to ever do, really, is to lead. Leading is hard. And if you got a family, or you got kids, or any leadership position or role in your life, and you're listening to this right now, it's not going to be easy. And that's why you need God. God has blessed you with that responsibility, but he's also the one that can show you how to handle that responsibility and to thrive in it. And I feel that weak leadership is the cause for the family breakdown.
Yeah.
And when there's a weak leader, and if you're a weak leader, don't get all mad at me. Just get right. But God can strengthen you. All right. I was weak in so many areas, and He has strengthened me, and He continues to strengthen me. But when weak leadership is displayed to your children, to your spouse, like say for us men, our wives, it discourages them, but also it shows them this is how we deal with things. Mm-hmm. This is how, when there's an argument, this is how we resolve it in this house, or whatever, or somebody passed away, or I lost my job, or whatever it is, this is how we handle it. And so I think that if the husbands don't take up their role in the household on how leadership is problem solving.
Yeah.
That's what leadership in a sense is.
Yeah.
And problem solving, a lot of people want to problem solve when it's a fun event, like a fun thing or a great, let me problem solve. How could we get more clients? Let's problem solve. Or how could we, right?
Yeah.
But problem solving, when your emotions have been hit and when you feel not the greatest, that's where the leader rises up in you. And if you're in that position right now and you need mentorship, that's where you have to look for, you have to be proactive too. A lot of times when people are depressed and down, they look for, how do you say, like, they're not looking for help, but also if someone reaches out, they look for all the wrong things in that person, or they look for the motive and they reject them. Don't reject help, accept the help if that's where you're at right now.